Let's assume that it is like a typical virus rather than something that goes out of control. Then it will have a rise and it'll have a decline like SARS did. And we will exaggerate probably its importance over the near term, and it certainly has a significant negative effect on the economy. But these are temporary things, and in relationship to the longer term things, they're not that big a deal. I would say from my contact with the leadership and watching how they're doing things, I think that they understand information flow very well. They have a tremendous ability to understand what is going on, and a tremendous bureaucracy in terms of ability to respond. And they are bringing in the World Health Organizations and so on. So there's a capability of dealing with this in a forceful way. So I would say the management of it is also good. So my inclination is that this will probably be something that in a year or two we won't be talking much about. It'll pass like a SARS sort of event did.
Interesting you say it, because they come into this crisis with projected growth of 6%, which is the lowest in nearly 30 years after that boom we've seen over the last 3 decades. Are they vulnerable to a shock? And if you get down to 4% growth, what's that mean for China working its way out?
I think there are other issues in China that are issues. They can't leverage the economy the way it was. China's at a state where it's not going to be able to grow at the pace that it did before. It's more expensive in relationship to the rest of the world. It's in a position where the economy has been more leveraged up. They're restructuring the debt and so on. At the same time, there is an innovation that's taking place, that the letting loose the entrepreneurship and technology. They have a lot of free data. They're fabulous in terms of data with AI. And so you're seeing them become very competitive in the technology industries and a number of other industries. So I think you're not going to see China grow at the rate that it has grown if we compare it to the past. And you think that less than 6% is disappointing, that's up to you, but it's not very disappointing. But I think you have to also break it into its pieces. And so in terms of any of its innovation, it's a competitor and will become an increasing competitor relative to the United States in the hottest areas, right? As well as other areas. The geopolitical will be a competitor. The technology will be a competitor. We're in a world now which is, China is very effective in many ways, right?
You don't see it as a black swan event in China that tilts the global economy into recession. 3% growth is not fantastic.
Yeah, I'm saying, I'm not an expert on the virus. But if you're asking me about viruses, which I've looked into and so on, in terms of the coming and going, and this is something that's worse than SARS, but not earth-shattering, it'll come and go like SARS did, and we will be beyond it. And other issues that are bigger and more important are not being discussed. It's just the one that's on the table right now in front of us, so it gets the headlines and we're talking about it. But if you're dealing with how can China, let's say, leverage its economy, that is going to be more of a, there are other problems that China have that probably will be bigger than this problem.